Hi, welcome to the 5th video I'm doing in a series in response to Kris Gunnars of Authority Nutrition's article, 8 Ridiculous Myths About Meat Consumption. His 5th myth is that humans are naturally herbivores and not designed for meat consumption. For now, I'll skip to the bottom line. Humans are well equipped to make full use of the nutrients found in meat. Our digestive system reflects a genetic adaptation to an omnivorous diet with animal foods as a major source of calories. Before I get into Gunnar's article, I'd like to point out that he referenced 5 different sources to prove his point. The first 2 sources, one of which is written by Loren Cordain, promotes a diet that is high in animal foods, while the last 3 are written by Katharine Milton, who actually promotes a plant-based diet. Gunnar says, some vegans claim that humans aren't designed to eat meat. They say that humans are naturally herbivores, like our primate ancestors. However, this is completely false. Humans and pre-humans have been eating meat for a very long time, and our bodies are well adapted to meat consumption. Gunnars then links to the first of 2 articles, Plant-Animal Subsistence Ratios and Macronutrient Energy Estimations in Worldwide Hunter-Gatherer Diets. In the abstract it says, both anthropologists and nutritionists have long recognized that the diets of modern-day hunter-gatherers may represent a reference standard for modern human nutrition and a model for defense against certain diseases of affluence. Our analysis showed that whenever and wherever it was ecologically possible, hunter-gatherers consumed high amounts, 45 to 65% of energy of animal food. This high reliance on animal-based foods coupled with relatively low carbohydrate content of wild plant foods produces characteristic macronutrient consumption ratios in which protein is elevated, 19 to 35% of energy, at the expense of carbohydrates, 22 to 40% of energy. And the second article is called Human Adaptations to Meat Eating. In the abstract it says, it is argued that Homo sapiens is a habitual rather than facultative meat eater. Quantitative similarity of human gut morphology to guts of carnivorous mammals, preferential absorption of heme rather than iron of plant origin, and the exclusive use of humans as a definitive host by Tania Saginata and the almost complete human specificity of P. solium are used to support the argument. Even if what these articles say is true, that hunter-gatherers ate this way, it does not mean that eating like them will result in our optimal health. The first article makes the statement that the diets of modern-day hunter-gatherers may represent a standard for modern human nutrition and a model for defense against certain diseases of affluence, but this is a false statement with no scientific foundation. Gunnars continues, our digestive systems really don't resemble that of herbivores at all. We have short colons, long small intestines, and lots of hydrochloric acid in the stomach to help break down animal protein. The length of different parts of our digestive system is somewhere in between the lengths typical for both carnivores and herbivores, indicating that humans are designed to be omnivores. It is also believed that our consumption of animal foods helped drive the evolution of our large brains, which set us apart from any other animal on Earth. Humans function best eating both animals and plants, period. The last 3 articles that Gunnars used to prove this point are actually written by Katharine Milton, who is a proponent of the plant-based diet. The first of these articles says in its abstract, the recommendation that Americans consume more fresh fruits and vegetables in greater variety appears well supported by data on the diets of free-ranging monkeys and apes. The second reference by Katharine Milton has 2 paragraphs that I'd like to point out. The first is probably what Gunnars was focusing on. So this is one of the paragraphs from Katharine Milton's article. I depart from those who suggest that meat may have been only a marginal food for early humans. I have come to believe that the incorporation of animal matter into the diet played an absolutely essential role in human evolution. So this is the part that Gunnars ignores. However, hominoids are not carnivores and have neither the gut anatomy nor digestive physiology of carnivora. A pure carnivore obtains all of its required daily energy, as well as protein and other essential nutrients, from the digestion of animal matter. Pure carnivores show a range of quite specific metabolic anomalies that are related to their all-flesh diets, including an inability to synthesize vitamin A and niacin from dietary precursors, the need for a dietary source of taurine, an unusually high requirement relative to other mammals for protein for maintenance and growth, and an unusual pattern of gluconeogenesis. In addition, as discussed earlier, carnivora have a rapid pattern of ingesture turnover. In the third article by Katharine Milton, which is called The Critical Role Played by Animal Source Foods in Human Evolution, the abstract says, wild primates take most of the daily diet from plant sources, eating moderate to small amounts of animal source foods. Plant materials make up from 87 to over 99% of the annual diet of great apes, the closest living relatives of modern humans. Reflecting their close genetic relationship, gut form and nutrient requirements of apes and humans are very similar, as is their pattern of digestive kinetics, one predicated on a relatively slow turnover of ingesture in plant-eating mammals, in contrast to carnivorous mammals. Turning to animal source foods as a routine rather than an occasional dietary component would have permitted the evolving human lineage to evade the nutritional constraints placed on body size increases in apes. Without routine access to animal source foods, it is highly unlikely that evolving humans could have achieved their unusually large and complex brain while simultaneously continuing their evolutionary trajectory as large, active, and highly social primates. As human evolution progressed, young children in particular, with their rapidly expanding large brain and high metabolic and nutritional demands relative to adults, would have benefited from volumetrically concentrated, high-quality foods such as meat. Today, many humans, particularly those in high-income nations, have a variety of high-quality, non-animal source foods dietary alternatives, but such foods were not generally available to Paleolithic human ancestors, nor to many people in low-income nations. So Katharine Milton, the author of the last 3 articles that Gunnars links to, promotes a plant-based diet.
I'm a professor at the University of California at Berkeley and have been since 1980. I got my PhD at New York University in biological anthropology, also called physical anthropology, and I did my dissertation work on the diet of wild howler monkeys. And that's what got me interested in diet and digestive physiology and information about the nutritional content of wild plant foods and how these things could be used to better understand modern human biology. How would we have known about our similarities and differences between ourselves and the common chimpanzee if Tag Dimmitt from Davis and I hadn't done those feeding trials on chimpanzees to find out how quickly their foods passed and whether they were able to digest dietary fiber, and compare that with the human data from Cornell? We wouldn't have known. If you don't understand how things are similar and different, you really can't ask very interesting questions. The idea that human beings should eat a lot of meat, to me, is a ludicrous statement. And I don't see how any scientist who was familiar with primate diets, primate physiology, and human diets, and the actual composition of protein, fats, and carbohydrates and how they're metabolized in the body and so on, I do not see how they could make such a ridiculous statement. It is absolutely ridiculous. The brain does not run on protein. The body does not want to break down protein to get those glucose-containing amino acids. It doesn't want to do it. Don't make me do it. Please don't make me do it. Fill me up with sugars and starches for your energy, and then protein can go to satisfy your requirements for nitrogen and amino acids and so on, and can take care of all of the body functions. And then fat has its certain functions in the body as well. And let each of those 3 macronutrients do what they're supposed to do, and quit trying to force humans to eat one or the other and use them in a way that I believe is not compatible with human biology. If the paleo diets being advocated at present are stating that human beings should take most of their daily caloric substrate from meat foods, I would just say this is a ridiculous and ludicrous idea and statement.
So Gunnars is right that we aren't herbivores, but we also aren't omnivores, like he asserts. We may be able to get nutrition from animal-based foods, but in this day and age, it's not necessary, and if we want to be in our best health, it's better to go plant-based. Like Katharine Milton said in the video, it's best for us to eat fruits and starches as a major source of our calories.
Here's a comparative anatomy chart. Get educated, mate.
I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in my next one.